Hi, thanks for using my court coach. My name is Sarah and I'll be your instructor today as we discuss the Child Support Information and Order Attachment, also known as Form FL-342. As with any court form, you want to fill in your identifying case caption information at the top. This is not a standalone form. It's typically attached to a formalized order. And underneath the header, you can see that it gives you a couple options of to mark what sort of form this is being attached to. It can be a findings and order after hearing, a judgment for divorce, a judgment for paternity, a restraining order after hearing, and then there's our other box, which probably most typically would be a stipulation. If you and the other party reached an agreement, then you could attach it to that agreement as far as child support goes. If this is based off of a court order, in other words, this is a child support order that the court has made, they are going to be using the statewide formula that we refer to as guideline, and they're typically going to be able to give you a printout that shows what that calculation is. If they do that, you can attach that to this form and probably avoid filling out a lot of these other boxes, especially the ones having to do with income, etc. On the other hand, if they don't, then you're going to need to fill in this information. If you are filling in this information, you want to mark the box that says income and then list the gross monthly income and the net monthly income that the court used in order to come up with the child support amount. If the court has made a decision to impute either party with income, and there is a separate video that talks about imputation of income and when it's appropriate and when the court may consider doing so, then you would want to mark the name of the party that has been imputed with income and the amount that they have been imputed with. Dollar amount goes here per month. You want to mark box number 3. This is the number of children who are subject to the court order. And then below that, you would list the amount of time that each parent spends with the child or children. Child support is primarily based upon income and timeshare, and that's why it's important to provide this information to the court. If the children have varying amounts of time with each parent, maybe an older child spends 20% with a parent and the younger child spends 50%, then the court is going to be able to average that out and come up with an average for each party as far as timeshare goes, and you would list that average here. If the court grants a hardship deduction, then you would mark this box. As a reminder, their hardship is where a party is experiencing extreme financial difficulties, and it is very limited as to what those specific circumstances are that the court can consider in granting a hardship. It's usually one of these 3: other minor children, extraordinary medical expenses, or catastrophic losses. Then the court can consider granting a hardship. If they do, identify the amount of the hardship, the basis for it, and if a duration is given for which time the hardship will apply, then you would list that here. Field number 5 has to do with low income adjustments. There is a separate video on this, but just to summarize, that where the net disposable income per month of the obligor, the payor of child support, is less than $1,500, and that amount is adjusted annually for cost of living expenses, the court can consider a low income adjustment. If the court makes orders regarding a low income adjustment, mark box 5, and then 5A would be if the court did apply the low income adjustment. 5B is if they did not. Field 6. This is a child support order attachment. You want to mark box 6, identify which party has been ordered to pay child support, the effective date of that order, and then the children for whom the support is being paid. You would list here the name, date of birth, the monthly amount, and who that amount of child support is being paid to. If the court makes specific orders as to when the child support is to be paid within a given month, then you would mark the appropriate box. It can be the first of the month. A lot of times they'll order one half on the 1st, one half on the 15th, or if they make any other orders, you would identify that here. If the court does not say anything as to when the support is to be paid, leave this blank. That just means that the support will be considered paid timely so long as it's paid by the end of the month. Page 6 deals with additional child support. The court has authority to order additional child support on top of the base child support, and that's pursuant to Family Code Section 4062. A lot of times the court will order both parties to share in childcare related costs that are related to employment purposes or uncovered medical expenses, and that's usually copays, prescription costs, orthodontia, that kind of thing. If the court orders either of those, mark 6B and 6C. Typically, it's each party pays for half, in which case you would mark that each party pays 50% of the total. If there's some other order, obviously, then you can write that in and have this order reflect that other order. Less common is for the court to order the parties to share in costs related to educational or extracurricular activities or for travel expenses or visitation. But obviously, if the court does make that an order, then you would mark these boxes and identify which party is to pay what percentage. If this is a non-guideline order, and the only way this would be a non-guideline order is if the parties agree to that on their own. As I stated previously, the court is bound by the state guideline formula. Then you would mark this box and also attach form FL-342A to it, which we will discuss in a separate video. Total up the total child support per month and list that here. If the court makes orders regarding health insurance, then you would want to fill in field 7. 7A has is what you would mark if a party orders one of the parties to provide that health insurance so long as it's available to him or her at reasonable or no cost from their place of employment. If health insurance is not available to either party, then you would mark box B. And if the court orders that a party providing coverage must assign the right of reimbursement to the other party, you would mark box 7C. Field 8 is just telling you that you have the right to automatically garnish these wages. That garnishment can be referred to as a earnings assignment order. It is also referred to as an income withholding order. That is form FL-195, and that is discussed in a separate video as well. Language 9, this is mandatory language that has to be included in the child support order. So if you are not using this form and are choosing to instead draft your own order, you have to make sure that this language is included. It basically allows a private child support collector to be appointed in the event that a party ordered to pay support does not. If the court orders either party to make job contacts, for instance, if a party is underemployed or not employed at all, then you would mark box 10 and order which party has to make the job contacts and how many and within what period of time under terms and conditions. 11 is our catch-all box. If there's any other orders that the court makes regarding child support, you would include that here. 12, this is just a reminder to also include form FL-192, Notice of Rights and Responsibilities, as an attachment to this order when submitting it to be filed. And then also 13 reminds you to fill out and submit with the filing of the order a child support case registry form. That's just a form that the court keeps in a confidential file of its own so that they can keep tabs on who owes who what support orders, and that's just in case the government ever gets involved for any sort of government benefits. I hope that you found this form helpful. Good luck.